Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely wild. We are going to look at exactly how a simple internet joke, literally just a piece of digital satire, somehow transformed into a perceived national security threat. According to our source material, this grassroots internet movement, which they called the Cockroach Party, rattled the political establishment in India in a way traditional politics simply hasn't. So if you've ever wondered how modern governments react when online satire suddenly crosses the line into a genuine political threat, you are definitely in the right place. Let's break down exactly how this whole thing unfolded. Okay, let's dive right into this. To understand how a massive movement like this even starts, we have to look at the inciting spark. Our source points us to a courtroom hearing on May 15, 2026. During this hearing, the Chief Justice of India, Suryakant, allegedly made a rather shocking statement. While reportedly talking about people with fake degrees entering various professions, he used the term cockroaches to describe unemployed youth who end up on social media or as activists, claiming they, quote, start attacking India. Now, as you can probably guess, in a country dealing with severe exam paper leaks and incredibly high youth unemployment, this quote just exploded. It became an immediate headline. And even though a clarification was issued the very next day, the damage, and really the inspiration, was already done. The sheer speed of what happened next is staggering. The very next day, May 16th, a 30-year-old Indian student in America named Abhijit Dopke put out a simple tweet. What if all cockroaches come together? In pure jest, he launched the Cockroach Party, or CJP. It was essentially a meme page, just a joke meant to poke a little fun at the ruling party. But as the source tracks for us, by May 21st, which is literally less than a week after that initial offhand courtroom comment, the CJP's Twitter account was officially banned in India. So we go from a courtroom quote to an internet trend to a full-blown government crackdown in just 6 days. Now, that incredibly rapid government response starts to make a lot more sense when you look at the actual scale of this movement. Our source highlights a genuinely staggering statistic. The CJP didn't just get a few laughs online. It amassed 22 million followers on Instagram. The source actually argues that this is perhaps the fastest organic growth of a social media account in internet history. It grew so astonishingly fast that it left behind the official digital footprint of the world's largest political party. And get this, the party's membership form was completely absurd. It asked just 3 simple questions. Are you lazy? Do you spend hours online? And do you identify as a cockroach? That's it, the whole shebang. It didn't matter who you were or where you came from. Anyone looking at this would instantly know it was just a joke. Yet, despite this obvious satire, it resonated so deeply with people that it surpassed the reigning political establishment in purely organic reach. But you have to ask, why on earth did people take it so seriously? Moving on to Section 1. From memes to demands, the turning point. So the crucial point the source makes here is that this meme quickly became a very real vessel for genuine youth frustration. When millions of young people feel like their everyday lives resemble the struggles of a cockroach, dealing with systemic issues like exam paper leaks, rising inflation, and a total lack of accountability, a meme can suddenly transform into a unified voice. The joke basically stopped being just a joke. The CJP actually released a manifesto on their website, and the demands were entirely serious. For instance, they targeted the independence of the judiciary by demanding no upper house seats for retired chief justices. They targeted electoral fraud by calling for severe arrests for anyone deleting valid votes. They demanded 50% women's reservation, the cancellation of specific corporate media licenses, and a brutal 20-year election ban for politicians caught horse trading. The source highlights the release of this specific manifesto as the exact moment the satirical party crossed over into becoming a legitimate political threat. They were channeling actual widespread grievances now. And they certainly didn't stop at just a manifesto. When the massive NEET exam paper leak scandal broke, the CJP leveraged its massive platform to demand the immediate resignation of the Education Minister, Dharmendra Pradhan. According to the data in our source material, an astonishing 600,000 people actually signed the CJP petition. To put that into perspective, a joke party was now successfully organizing mass digital protests that were generating millions of views in mere hours. Which brings us to Section 2, the pushback, anatomy of a crackdown. Naturally, this unprecedented level of organizing triggered an intense institutional response. Let's move to how this builds, step by step against the creator, Abhijit Dopke, because it escalates fast. Step 1, as we noted earlier, was the official blocking of the social media accounts, reportedly based on Intelligence Bureau inputs. When the CJP predictably created backup accounts, Step 2 kicked in. This involves severe hacking attempts that temporarily locked them out of Instagram entirely, alongside shutting down their website. Then, step 3 took a much, much darker turn. The source claims Dipkike's personal WhatsApp number was leaked, leading to direct death threats against him and his family back in India. And finally, when intimidation allegedly failed to silence him, step 4 was the rollout of organized disinformation and defamation campaigns to completely discredit him. Now, according to the source, a threat to national security was the official justification reportedly used to execute these bans. And the creator points out a pretty sharp irony here. In a landscape where the source argues actual corruption, exam fraud, and election fraud are occurring on a regular basis, absolutely none of that is treated as a national security threat. But an internet joke, where people are literally making memes in cockroach costumes, that allegedly is. It really begs the question of what truly frightens political establishments today. Of course, as the movement grew, so did the theories about who was really pulling the strings. The source neutrally breaks down these deep state claims for us. At first, politicians alleged this was a covert political operation by the Aam Aadmi Party. The reality? Deepgate openly worked for that party from 2020 to 2023. It was public knowledge he never hid it. When that narrative failed, he was quickly branded a secret foreign asset. Yet, his personal account, which prominently showcased his life as a student in Boston, was publicly tagged right there in the CJP bio. The source argues, quite logically, that if this were truly a covert foreign op, the mastermind probably wouldn't be using a completely public, easily searchable personal profile to run the whole thing. And this brilliantly illustrates how another viral claim was debunked by the source. A widespread image was heavily circulated by politicians, claiming that 49% of the CJP's followers were actually from Pakistan, clearly attempting to paint the entire movement as a coordinated foreign attack. However, the creator responded by sharing back-end screen recordings of his actual data. And the result? A massive 94% of the followers were Indian, with only 6% coming from all other countries combined. It was a domestic youth movement, plain and simple. So when the Pakistan claim was solidly debunked, the narrative shifted again, this time to saying the followers were all fake bots. Now, the source openly acknowledges that analyzing bot counts via third-party websites isn't perfectly reliable, right? But using those exact same third-party tools for a direct comparison, the source notes that the CGP's followers were estimated at around 8% bots. By comparison, applying that exact same tool to official ruling party channels yielded an estimated 19% fake follower count. The point being made here is that the very metrics used to try and discredit the satire party often reflected significantly worse on official channels. Let's look at Section 3, the broader implication, fragility of dissent. So, zooming out here, what does this all mean in the grand scheme of things? Because this isn't just a story about a funny Instagram page anymore. It's a deep exploration of how modern digital democracies handle criticism, and specifically how they react to highly effective youth movements. The source outlines what it calls a standard toolkit deployed against all forms of dissent, claiming the system is now overwhelmingly hostile to any new opposition. And it's not just a fake party facing this heat. The source points out that real opposition parties face extreme institutional and investigative pressure today. Independent social media creators consistently find their content restricted. Even prominent, highly respected climate activists like Sonam Wangchuk are suddenly labeled foreign agents. And it trickles all the way down to teenagers. According to the source, even high school students going online to question their exam grading are quickly labeled as anti-national or foreign operatives. It seems the foreign conspiracy label is allegedly the default response to absolutely any digital pushback. Which brings us to the source's philosophical conclusion, perfectly captured in this thought. The core argument here is that this massive, multi-tiered institutional crackdown on a literal meme party doesn't project strength at all. Instead, it exposes a profound institutional panic over Gen Z's ability to organize digitally. It reveals a deep-seated fear that traditional power structures are incredibly vulnerable to these fast-moving, decentralized internet-native movements. And we're going to end on this final, incredibly provocative thought directly from the source material. If a fake party, I mean literally a joke with a cockroach mascot, can cause this level of systemic panic, censorship, and retaliation, what on earth happens when 20 million people actually come together and unify in the real world? It definitely leaves us with a whole lot to ponder regarding the future power dynamics between modern governments and internet culture. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning what you see.